So I think virtually everybody that is a hardcore HHN fan was waiting around anxiously, with the thought being the worst possible case scenario is that we get absolutely nothing, and the most logical scenario being you get a reveal, like maybe we'll get the commercial, we'll get the houses, we'll get something big for the event, and we got nothing. Paul, what do you think?
Hold on a second. Is murdering someone?
Yeah, you heard that?
Yes.
He's in a body bag somewhere.
I'm like, hold on.
I just had a bad accident in my game room. Holy
What'd you shot?
Is it a diarrhea accident?
Oh, it looks like it. If I were to send you a screenshot right now, holy crap, this is bad. Holy
So I will pick up at some point and say, Paul, what do you think? But
sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. You see that? You know what caused that?
No.
I opened this shake.
Yeah.
I just popped the top. It shot all over the wall. And me. But mainly that.
It looked like you all over the.
I know.
Hey.
did you guys go to get frozen yogurt again?
No, I had this milkshake from like breakfast.
Oh my God!
From like, I don't know, earlier in the day or yesterday or who knows when. And it's in like one of these thermos, containers. And I just popped the top and it's like all the compression's like boom. And I'm like, oh, like, oh man.
You have to take
Would you like to play a game?
shirt off?
Yes.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Four Hauntsmen. It's week number 4, episode number 4, the iconic number 4 for the Four Hauntsmen. This is Kyle. I am here with Drew,
Hello.
Nathan,
That is definitely me.
and Paul.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back. We normally would be recording every other week, but we set aside this week specifically because we were awaiting the millennial Y2J clock countdown on the Soul Collector portion of the HHN Orlando website for a big reveal. We were waiting for houses, for an icon, for the theme, for scare zones, for everything to be announced. And we pretty much got nothing.
I mean, I wouldn't say we got nothing, Kyle. We got a plethora. We got a cornucopia of things. We got a sweepstakes. We got a wallpaper. We got... Wait, maybe those are the only two things.
We got a whole bunch of disappointment.
We got a whole lot of disappointment.
I wasn't disappointed because I was right all along a week ago. When I said nothing was going to happen.
Yeah, I started going towards that side this week when they sent out that email about the Volcano Bay. Try all the new food options. A day after they cut all the food options from Volcano Bay. So
I genuinely feel bad as a friend and as a partner because I know I hyped this so much, and I think this was the logical thing to do, was to make an announcement. All of the hardcore HHN haunt followers had assumed, incorrectly so, that the logical thing would be that this would be some type of big release. I know that Nathan took off from his job, switched shifts, if you will. I'm getting buzzed. It's the Nathan buzzer. Took off to make sure that we could record tonight on an off week night. And Paul, there was movement on your end.
Yeah, I worked from home today. I talked about this on the first episode of the podcast. I worked from home and at 10:59 was refreshing that page. Yeah. So they did announce the sweepstakes, right? Which I guess if there are folks who are divisive on whether this thing was a big disappointment or not. Because some people are like, well, they never said it was going to be anything. And others are like, well, at this point, it's August 3rd, and people need to start deciding if they're going to book travel because it's going to get more and more expensive, and we still don't know if it's worth going. The hardcore fans do. The hardcore fans are going to go regardless, but I think the concern here is that right now the hardcore fans aren't appeased because we're not getting announcements, and the more casual fans, like, are we going to Halloween Horror Nights this year in Florida, aren't appeased because they don't know if it's worth paying for a plane ticket yet.
I genuinely think that this was, I know on Twitter I use some choice words here and there, but this was a giant whiff at the plate for the Universal marketing team. I think that there's things that go right at Universal, in creative, and I know for years that there's been a divide between what creative is working on and what they're intending to do, and what the social team and the marketing team and promotion team are getting together. I think that when you hype something up, the people on the social team have seen for weeks that people are talking about Halloween Horror Nights and they can't wait for the timer to click down. It's not like this was new. It wasn't something that was a shock. So if you think that people were going to be that disappointed in the messaging that they get or the result that they get at the end, what a huge miss. You couldn't have pissed off your core people anymore. And the reality is, the counterpoint, well, who's not going to go to Halloween Horror Nights? And you know what? That's true. Everyone's still going to go. But it's kind of like the mentality of the WWE fans. And for folks that don't know what I'm talking about, they put out such a crap product on week-over-week basis, or when pay-per-views come out, and you're like, that's it, I'm never going to watch this again. But then that next Monday night, you're tuning back in because you want to see what did they do to potentially right the ship, because you love that product, or you have an affinity that deep for that brand or that product, and you want to support it. This was a tremendous letdown and a huge gaffe. It only got worse as the day went on, where people were complaining to the HHN social team, and the team started taunting people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And using horny devil emojis, which I don't think they know that's what that means. Yeah, but I think you can go.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think one of the things too that we mentioned this. I believe I mentioned this on our last recording was, there's people that go out there and they analyze the code of the websites, and they analyze the image names that show up on the websites, trying to figure things out. So this is your core fan base. They want to know everything and they investigate. So when you put a countdown clock on a website, naturally people are going to think that it's going to lead to something much bigger than a sweepstakes. So that was Universal's problem right then and there. I don't get how you can have and the countdown was up for over a month. So for something to be teased for over a month, you figure it's got to be something substantial. So for it to just be a sweepstakes that, for the most part, doesn't appeal to most of the people that are checking that site, because you figure a lot of the people are locals.
Yep.
That are big fans of the event. So the sweepstakes is just a huge – it's a cool thing to do, but it's a huge swing and a miss as far as a countdown leading to that. And, with the blowback that they were getting from it, it's shocking to me that they wouldn't even just be like, like The Purge is rumored to return as a scare zone. Just throw something out. Academy of Villains is coming back. Purge is going to be back. Bill and Ted, which they haven't really confirmed just yet. But, we all know it's coming back. But just anything. And, the fans expected a lot because of the announcement, but that was never confirmed that was going to be the case either. So I feel like everyone's to blame on this, but Universal created the situation themselves.
I would have loved to have been in the room when this idea was pitched. You're going to be that guy that stands up in front of everybody and goes, all right, guys, listen to me. 30-day countdown clock. Yeah, we're listening. What's at the end of it? Contest. Oh, Jim, that's amazing. Oh, my God, I knew we promoted you for a reason. All right, get Ted from accounting on the phone. This is going through. It's so fun. Yeah. How does that happen?
I don't know how many people they're pitching to, and I think that's the problem. We've seen that over the years, before the advent of Twitter and people, clamoring to short messaging for social media, and there was just the regular media. There was a disconnect already between what the creative team wanted to push out and what was being kind of fed to the traditional media or cargo short media out there. So, this, it's only become more glaringly obvious that people are not connected. It doesn't seem like there's an overall leadership at the helm of this overall team steering the ship to say, this is what we're going to announce this date, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I mean, you've seriously, agitated the people that I think, here's my last thing that I'd say as far as how much I think that they've alienated people. We've talked about entitlement on here. And I think this, went beyond the entitlement thing, because it was kind of like a lure of, we're going to finally get our announcements. The people that they agitated are probably more of a core group that push out their message, and they're such loyal fans that they're not getting freebies from, HHN or from Universal. They're not going to these media dinners or, like the media night where they're getting plied with, as much free beer or alcohol you could have, or food, or a special preference to, preferential treatment to go to the houses and stuff like that. These are people that are hardcore, that go out the first day the tickets are available, buy the tickets, and then push the hell out of the event on social media for them for free. And they have a big audience on social media where they're pushing out to other people. And those are the people that today were like, what the heck? What did you do? And in turn, the social media team comes out and is antagonizing people. It was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and on the flip side now, you have like Howl-O-Scream, Screamageddon, everybody else just kind of, their eyes are lighting up like, oh yes, like this is our time to shine. So
You know what,
I
though?
don't think you're gonna see I don't see a lot of people jumping ship just yet, but it definitely makes you think a little bit about everything.
A couple things to what you guys just said. If I was Howl-O-Scream, I would have called an emergency meeting to drop the bomb on all the rest of the news today.
Absolutely.
Like, take advantage. And I get that.
I don't
stuff
think they
takes
had
time.
it ready though, Paul.
I mean,
I
I
think
get
in
that.
fairness,
I mean, yeah. I mean, of course. And I think that's the tricky part, right? That getting that stuff prepared is tricky, but I don't know. Like, maybe some of the smaller ones, maybe you just kind of have to take advantage of this opportunity. But you were referencing like the WrestleMania crew or the WWE folks, the loyalists who will watch it even though just hoping for something better. And I think that does happen, but at some point it turns, right? And I think we're seeing a little bit of a turn today from people who are genuinely normally like the HHN. I don't want to say apologists, but they don't see the wrong in the event. They focus entirely on the positive. And, a lot of people were just kind of harsh today in their responses that that surprised me because they're not normally harsh about the event.
One of the points that I made today, and I stand by it, and there was a lot more support for it than I thought there would be, is that as soon as Mike Aiello kind of stepped away from doing the Twitter account, that it's become a mess. Mike had so much stuff going on, but he always took time to post some like backstage stuff, answer questions. It was a more personable experience. Now it's just nameless, faceless, and basically if it's not them posting news, whether it be a reveal or them posting tweets in Spanish about what's coming, it's just them doing little witty remarks to people that are not funny and they're not informative either. So I really think that once they kind of gave that Twitter account over to who I assume are the normal social media people, that everything really went downhill.
Yeah, but they have that witty banter between the accounts. I mean, that's where they shine. And
oh yeah, they're fantastic.
I mean, I need that in my life every day. It's believable. And
it's basically just like a power hungry child, got hands on some stuff and decides to play with it.
I've never seen any other like Fortune 500 company treat the social media the same way that they treat it here, and I think it goes well beyond being comical or trying to relate to a younger fan base. I just think that, today was, and it was, it was just borderline inappropriate to, there wasn't like an apology, there wasn't an acknowledgement to say like, hey, we should have done things better, or just stay tight for next week, or whenever, it was nothing. It was literally they tweeted a shit emoji back to somebody.
Yeah. I think next week they're going to be in full panic mode, and a lot of stuff is going to start getting, maybe like one a day, they're going to start revealing stuff.
Well, they've got to, right? I mean, it's going to be mid-August I say in next week we're getting to August 11th, and it's like, okay, like something needs to happen, because I know I keep referencing this because Kyle and Nathan live in Florida, but Drew and I don't. And like, if I didn't have you guys down there to visit, I would literally, I know people, I have friends who are literally like, well, I'm kind of waiting to see what they're going to announce before I book my flight. And, it's just, you can't wait till 3 weeks before the event to get a good price on a flight unless you get lucky.
You want to get lucky?
I was more or less saying the same thing today, where I said, if it wasn't for the fact that if I was planning to go down for a weekend, and if it wasn't for the fact of, friends down there and all that kind of stuff, if I was going strictly for Halloween Horror Nights, between the delay that they're having in announcing things and then what the rumored things are that they are going to announce, I would probably skip it this year.
I'm at that point where I put money aside for that, the ticket I've got in the last 2 years with the all month, with the free, the, what do they call it, the express pass on every night but Saturdays. Actually, I think I had the Saturdays last year.
Frequent.
And now I'm looking at,
you had Saturdays last year.
I don't know if I want to get 2 reasons. One, majority of people I know that are going are not going to be having express pass. So that was kind of weird last year. But then this time around, I'm like, how much do I really want to go? Because I'm convinced The Shining is going to suck. They don't have a likeness for Jack Nicholson. I'm just probably going to laugh the entire time I'm on it. And everything else at this point, Ash vs. Evil Dead, okay, I'm excited for that. But I think after 1 or 2 times, it's going to be like Krampus, it's just everything's going to lose its sizzle for me. So am I going to go? Yeah, I'm going to go, but I just don't know how often I'm going to go, especially with everything else out there now.
Let's be real. They could have announced Jigsaw today. I think that's widely speculated that that's coming. But, you could have had at the end of the countdown, would you like to play a game or something like that? Mm-hmm. That's literally, I know that people are not looking for that house, but that's like the Krampus of this year for me. I am looking forward to that house to be like the most ridiculously stupid thing. It's one of the only saving things that, so far Ash versus Evil Dead seems like it could be fun. I did pick up the Blu-rays as per Nathan's recommendation last week, Best Buy, $20. There's not a lot to look forward to so far, and I think that maybe that's why they're dragging their feet.
Well, and here's the thing.
Exactly why they're doing it.
I don't mean to be down on the event, because I'm genuinely I look forward to it every year, and I know there are folks who are disappointed in the IPs that are chosen. I don't really care about IPs, so every time they announce 6 IPs and 3 original houses, I'm like, can I just get like more original houses? Because I'm really not a fan of the IP houses. I enjoy them, but I feel like they put more effort in on their original properties, Tomb of the Ancients aside. But so if it seems like this year we're gonna have, if rumors are to be true, we're gonna get 5 licensed property houses. We're gonna get 4 original property houses, and so I'm okay with that. I just, I'm looking forward to the event regardless. I think, the last couple of years, and I feel like we're focusing on the negative here, but I will say the last couple of years, I feel like the website, the marketing, all that stuff has kind of gone downhill from what it used to be. The website used to be an event, a big thing, animations, videos, things like that. Nowadays, it's just like the images, and it's not the same. So I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe I'm hoping beyond hope, because I think what we're seeing here is we're not going to get that.
One final point, because Kyle said it, and it just made me think of it. if that countdown would have hit 0, right, and then all of a sudden you would have had this, that would have been the greatest thing ever.
I agree. But I will say, before we move on from this topic, and I talk about something else that disappointed me today, the sweepstakes that was announced, you can go to hhnsweeps.universalorlando.com. It is one grand prize winner will get a 3-night vacation for 2. It includes park-to-park tickets. It includes 2 tickets for 2 nights for Halloween Horror Nights, round-trip airfare, ground transportation, hotel accommodations, tickets to the Scare Actor Dining, and entry into the social media meetup, which is occurring... There's a lot an entry into the social media meetup that happens on November 3rd. If you're wondering what's going on, there's a lot of buzzing in the background, so we're cracking each other up. And 7 first prize winners will each receive a specialty t-shirt. And so if for those looking for the hints and things like that for the event, it shows one of the event shirts for the event, a lanyard, an Uni Mini, and $100 gift card.
Yeah, that shirt's must have a whole bunch of leftovers from Disturbed's World Tour 2013 or something. That shirt's so metal. Got a skull on it. Badass.
Oh, God. Yep. I can't wait to get that shirt.
They probably sold it at Rockville for $40, and now it's at Universal.
Oh, I hope they have like a matching flannel with it. That'd be perfect.
Stop hating on Avenged Sevenfold.
I don't know how you caught that one.
Yeah. How we connected the pieces on that one. So, it's kind of horror related. But I saw this link on Twitter that Patron teamed up with horror director Guillermo del Toro to put together a very special collaboration tequila, very limited edition. Guillermo del Toro worked with an artist. They designed the bottle. It's kind of a unique... It's not the normal Patron. It's kind of got like a special Patron in it. It is... and it comes in a fancy box. It's freaking gorgeous. I mean, it is absolutely a gorgeous piece of art, I would say. And I'm like, I really want that. And so I went to the website. I pulled. I got to the link that said order or pre-order or whatever. And so I'm literally taking my wallet out of my pocket, clicking that button, and then it pops up with $475.
Hold on, though. It said there's 2 different bottle sizes.
Oh, is there?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I'm on it. Hold on. 475 is the 750, the normal size, and there's 100. Oh, that's got to be like what, a shot?
Maybe it comes with a mini shot. I think what it probably does is it comes with 2 bottles. It comes with a bottle that you contain that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the bottle contains 750 milliliters of blended añejo tequila and 100 milliliters of orange liqueur. So it's kind of got both. It's gorgeous. If anyone wants to open up a GoFundMe to get Paul some tequila, I fully endorse such a thing. You can keep any overages over the $475 plus shipping.
I just bought a bottle of tequila last week from Sammy Hagar and, oh my God, dude. Oh, Adam Levine. They have a joint brand together since Sammy sold Cabo.
Like Maroon 5 Adam Levine?
Like Mezcal. Yeah. It's I haven't tried it yet, but that was like $50 a bottle, so I thought that was super expensive.
Does it cure acne?
Yeah, it cures everything, dude. It cures horrible social media by Halloween Horror Nights also.
There was a bottle I saw at Total Wine. There's a couple of them. I forget the name of the brand, but each one was a skull, and they were individually hand-painted.
Yeah, I've seen those before.
Those were like $50 or $60. Those are cool.
Well, no.
I don't know. Like we've become the tequila podcast.
There were worse things.
Yeah. I'm gonna get us back to Hots though. Howl-O-Scream, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Busch Gardens, Tampa. What's happening in Williamsburg?
So, a couple weeks back on my YouTube channel, I looked at the website for Howl-O-Scream, and I was like, okay, looks like everything's been announced. The website's been updated, so it seems like we get one new house, and that's pretty much it. And I'm like, okay, well, no big deal. I'll do my little summary video here on Howl-O-Scream. And then apparently they weren't done with announcements. Busch Gardens Williamsburg announced that they are replacing the Wendigo Woods scare zone. Well, I shouldn't call it a scare zone. They're called territories at Busch Gardens. And in the New France area of the park, which is Canada, they have replaced Wendigo Woods with the new Axe Alley, which is a Viking-themed scare zone to kind of go with the fact that they have the new Invader roller coaster back there. So, heck yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yes, the Dante Culpepper scare zone.
I wasn't even thinking about that, too. I was thinking of Zach Wild.
No, dude, that sounds cool, though, man. That's like a different theme that you don't really see at stuff like that.
When they opened up Invader, they hired like tons of Viking cosplayers. I wouldn't doubt that they called up some of those people to come back because they had like a whole contest to participate in the ribbon cutting. So yeah, I think it's a different idea. I think it'll work well with the roller coaster. I'm all for it.
That's pretty sweet.
We've got a bunch of Viking costumes left over. What can we do with them?
Maybe they'll call up Randy Moss. He's retired now. Adrian Peterson, if he's not beating kids anymore.
It'll be the Purple People Eater scare zone.
Yes. Nah, dude, that sounds killer, man.
Yeah, especially if they were to go on like Invader with you during Howl-O-Scream hours. That would be amazing.
Well, they did at the opening event. There were people who won a contest to ride the roller coaster with them. So I'm all for it. I hope whatever they do I will say the territories are something that Busch Gardens Williamsburg has been doing really good these last couple of years. They had a new one last year called Sideshow Square. A bunch of props, really good actors. So if they put that same level of commitment into Axe Alley, I think it's going to be great. So how about down there in Tampa?
We don't have any Axe Alley, eh?
Ah, lame.
Busch Gardens Tampa, it's doing great. Actually, today, as a result of the clutch to bomb with Halloween Horror Nights, I had tweeted at them and said, like, hey, this is your perfect time to step up and, let us have it. Give us some announcements. And, they came back and they actually tweeted out a teaser picture of something that they said their announcement would be coming next week. But here's a picture to give you a taste of what's coming. So I thought that was really cool. They didn't have stuff canned and ready to go for today, but they did say that they were ready to make their announcement next week. But what I thought was really cool that they did do this week is that they've kind of been spreading the love on social media, and we've been giving the Universal and Halloween Horror Nights teams kind of a bad review here. On the other hand, for Howl-O-Scream, they do take things a little bit more seriously, and they do have some wit though to things also, but they used Snapchat this past week to do this whole story backstage in their warehouse and take you around as the engineers and the carpenters were building their sets for their territories. So, some of it you could tell what things were, and other things were still in initial build stage. But it was a really cool vibe because it was kind of, it's always the same guy that does their stuff on social media. And I apologize if they're listening. I don't know the guy's name. But it very much feels like the vibe of like a vlog or something where they're taking you along for the journey and showing off each individual piece in the stations that they've got going on. So, it was really cool. I got a good vibe from it because it feels like you're kind of invested in what they're going to announce, and hopefully they should be announcing stuff next week. They did confirm that Scarlett would not be in the house this year for On Earth, though, and I believe that that's for both Busch Gardens events.
Oh, really? Okay, ours is still showing Scarlet on the website, which I found odd because that's they're putting a new ride in that location where that they normally use for the Scarlet. So maybe there are more announcements.
Well, Unearthed
coming.
is there. Yeah, I mean, Unearthed is there, but she's not in the house.
Oh, the character.
Like last year, I went through the house and we were like, "This is really weird." Like, you get to that room and there's nobody in that room. But same thing again this year.
I wonder if part of that, the Scarlet thing of her not returning is the fact that she was a character that was created by that Blair Witch Project guy, and the contract just, rather than continue paying that contract, just kind of let it go. I don't know.
It could be.
Doesn't really seem like there's a theme to the house without it having Scarlet to it, but more to come. So make sure you're listening and subscribed to our podcast, because we'll keep you updated as we get updated.
Yeah, so at least if we don't get a reveal from Halloween Horror Nights next week, you'll have one from Howl-O-Scream, and they've kind of put it out there.
And most importantly, one from the Four Hauntsmen. Bam! Psh.
Yeah.
Can we make it to 5?
I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired.
Buzz.
Bzz, bzz. For local haunts, Screamageddon, which was Nathan and I's favorite local haunt last year. It's in Dade City, and for those that have asked about Screamageddon, because we continue to get questions about that, it is really kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it delivers. They had gone radio silent on their website and Facebook and social media. They've come alive this week. We had reached out to them, asking them if they were coming back and things like that. They started hiring this week, and they responded to us just prior to recording time to say that they will be opening in late September. So they're back. Nathan, want to talk about Shallow Grave?
They're back too.
They are back. We said the same thing last week. They're hiring. They have tweeted out a teaser picture for a house upgrade for 2017. So they said it's still under construction, but they did put a little teaser out there. So they're alive and out there on social media.
And I'll add to that, though, because they wrote the other day about kind of like a memory. Like, remember when Horror Nights was not all conga lines? You actually used to be terrified. It was like almost verbatim what they wrote. At the end of it, they put basically they're doing the same thing, and I can agree with that because, like I said before, you don't go in with I mean, if it was the 4 of us, we could go in together, and we will not bump into anybody else, any other groups, the whole entire time we're in there. And you'll jump. Like, it's very. They can touch you in there, but it's not like a Screamageddon where they can literally shank you and throw you against walls and everything else. It's more like they just kind of brush up against you, but you won't even know they're there. That's what's crazy. So I highly recommend that one.
Yes, Nathan likes being touched.
Love it. If you see me, just touch me.
Samantha Fox. And Ominous Descent. They are also hiring. They've noted that August 6th are auditions. Probably that'll be after or before or after. One of the two. I've now had 5 beers. That'll be probably after. I'm sorry. Yeah, this will drop after the hiring date or audition date, I think. Unless Paul works all night.
Yeah. So the audition date is what date?
August 6th.
August 6th. So if you're lucky, it'll drop before. If you're not, it happened yesterday.
Yeah. They get a DeLorean. Do you have a DeLorean dealership in Central Florida now?
There you go.
They were actually at Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and they've tweeted out that Dee Snider was visiting their house like a week or 2 ago, which I'd love to hear the story about. So maybe we'll get folks from either of those haunts on the line at some point.
Maybe we'll get Dee Snider on.
Yes!
He's been around the area this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he would attend the opening of an envelope, dude. He's everywhere.
He probably will not take it, though.
Yeah, just don't ask him for a picture.
I saw him at Halloween Horror Nights 22, just walking around. And then he was on my flight home the next day. Flying JetBlue, in case you were wondering.
Because it's the price that you'll pay. So, just a quick story about Dee Snider and Twisted Sister. AJ Parrow, the drummer from Twisted Sister that had passed away a couple years ago, when I was getting a tattoo in Staten Island, New York. Sat there like the entire time that we got tattooed. He was phenomenal to talk to. So I was a huge Twisted Sister fan. So if D. Snyder does want to come on the podcast, the hell with Drew. We'll take D. Snyder instead.
We can ask him about Strangeland.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah. So, briefly, I wanted to mention Midsummer Scream. It happened, as of this recording, it happened last weekend out in Orange something, California.
Orange County?
Orange Peel?
Orange Rind?
Orange Crush?
I wish.
Bird?
I see orange.
I see orange is not at McDonald's anymore.
It's not.
What is the world coming to?
The terrorists have won.
I would think take that off the menu.
Oh, God.
They're kind of like Nintendo. They hate money.
Jesus.
So it was a big horror convention that occurred last weekend out in California. They had a panel on Halloween Horror Nights where they made a bunch of announcements as to their California event. They're getting their info out pretty steadily there. They had the Not Scary Farm announcement, which I don't know if you guys saw, but they have one of those like interactive flashlight houses. Have you ever been to one of those where the flashlight kind of it's like you have a flashlight, but it basically does what they tell it to do? Type thing. It's called Lights Out is the name of the house, and they talked quite a bit about it.
In Florida.
I think it looks. What? Yeah, a little bit.
Lights Out.
Lights Out. I think it looks pretty sweet. I mean, I've never been to Not Scary Farm. I don't think I've ever been to Not Scary Farm.
I did read that this year was the last year for Elvira being involved.
Yes.
Oh, man. When I was in high school, there was a period when Universal Hollywood, there's actually 2 periods where they basically stopped doing Horror Nights there. A lot of it had to do with alcohol. So Knott's was, the reigning champion. Like, it would sell out. And the late 90s, a bunch of us went to Knott's, and Elvira had her little stage show. The only thing I remember from all that was at the very end, she's pretty much topless, but with tassels on her breast, and just spinning them with fireworks attached to it for 5 minutes straight. And that's pretty much all I remember from all of Not Scary Farm in general.
That's really the only reason to go.
Did I mention that there's a DeLorean dealership in Orlando?
Yeah, exactly. So, Not Scary Farm is in Buena Park, California at Knott's Berry Farm, September 21st to October 31st. It says 13 haunted attractions, over 1,000 monsters lurking in the fog. For the first time, they're going to have a Fright Lane pass that includes access to both houses and rides. Elvira, last visit, like we said. And the name of the house, I'm going to correct myself, is Trick or Treat Lights Out. Armed with only a faulty flashlight, face the terror of the Green Witch's house completely in the dark. So, if we know anyone going to Not Scary Farm, make sure to pop us an email for hauntsman@gmail.com.
Yes. Continue on with Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, because I think you touched on that there. Their website, stunned by the buzzing. We've missed the shots. The shot clock's over. There goes it goes too long. Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, their splash page actually has something that looks cohesive at this point. They're considering The Walking Dead a house for their event.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I forgot that it was the permanent attraction, and I did a double take.
Yeah, I mean, they have more to announce, but they did say they have 8 mazes this year. They're getting the Jabberwockies back, the Terror Tram, the Scare Zones. Like you said, their website has been updated, kind of has this cohesive advertisement aspect to it. So
there's no contest.
There's yet. When the countdown clock runs out, maybe there will be.
That's a noise. think all we need is like 4 Huntsman buzzers.
That's what I do.
Get T-shirts. You should just find like Oriental Trading Company or somebody must have like cheap buzzers that we just can put our brand on it.
Well, it's not on the outline, but before we pop off the haunt stuff, Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, and not Hollywood, Halloween Horror Nights Japan. I haven't even, well, I guess I have been drinking, but that has nothing to do with it.
3 good weeks.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, people. Halloween Horror Nights Japan, released a bunch of images this past week too, and I know none of us are likely to attend the event, but they did show that Cult of Chucky, I think is the new Chucky movie, is going to be, they're going to have a house based on that, as well as I believe Jason is going to have a house as well. Like, they've got a pretty solid lineup out there.
Yeah.
And Tiffany's back in the new Chucky movie also.
Yeah, I saw that, which is pretty sweet.
Nothing gives you 11 million views like Tiffany and Chucky.
There you go. Well, by the next week, when
they announced the winner of the contest
next Friday. Yeah, exactly. We're counting down. On the countdown clock is ticking.
Smack corn.
Next Friday, locally, one of our local breweries here in Virginia Beach area of Virginia, or I guess we're calling ourselves Coastal Virginia, O'Connor Brewing, it's kind of one of the largest breweries out here, is releasing their pumpkin beer, the Punkelweiss. And according to the owner of O'Connor Brewing, Kevin O'Connor, they time their releases basically once they know that Sam Adams Oktoberfest is going to come out. Because basically once Sam Adams Oktoberfest comes out, everyone follows suit. And so, Kyle, I think we're going to start seeing some pumpkin beer on the shelves next week.
Yeah, we actually have a viewer, both from the Cheap Seats and from the Huntsman, that is a beer distributor, that said that they are typically sending their pumpkin beers out to their vendors, like the stores, first week of August. So we should start seeing things in stores. We were out at ABC and Total Wine over the last week looking for stuff, which ended up, in me buying bottles of tequila and drinking 5 of the other craft beers that I found on the shelf now because there was no pumpkin beer to be had. So I think it's interesting that there's no shipyard beer on the shelves yet and stuff too for pumpkin beer, which is usually one of the first. So it's odd that that's not out.
Well,
there's just one I'm looking forward to. Cigar City's Good Gourd. You got to jump on that fast.
I had that last year.
Yeah, that was one of the better ones, as well as the preview beer that they have, the chocolate one.
Oh, the seasonal sneak.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Crooked Can does one too.
Crooked Can?
Yeah,
I think everybody does it. I'll be completely honest. Like, we did the Nights of the Beer Table last year, and we had a lot to drink that day because there was a lot of beers.
We did.
I mean, and then there was a ton of beers that were left over that we didn't try that I did that like the following time. I find myself drinking, like 10 to 16 beers at a time for some reason with these pumpkin beers that come out. And even with the apps like Untapped, I can't even keep track of what any of them are. Every year is like Groundhog Day, because I can't remember what I've had from the year before that's good, other than the Shipyard is the best for me, hands down, and the Cigar City beers have been phenomenal also. But outside of that, I can't remember any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my favorites, right? I know I like the Punkelweiss. I know I like the Shipyard Pumpkinhead. But I remember last year there was kind of like a big pumpkin shortage or something like that. So breweries were having trouble getting pumpkins, or maybe it was just a bad season or something like that.
No, they did say it was a pumpkin shortage. That's why I thought maybe that was...
That's why they put so much nutmeg in it.
Yeah, there was a lot of nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
And fruit chips.
So, you know what I'm going to do, actually, since we're talking about this? If you're watching this on YouTube, in the show notes below, if you're not watching this if you're going to iomgeek.com, or if you're going anywhere else, go to iomgeek.com and look for this episode. I'm going to put a link to the Nights of the Beer Table pumpkin beer review video that we had last year, because that was a lot of fun to film. We have 2 different versions of the video. We've got one from Kyle and one from myself. Both the same thing, just kind of like different angles in the same room. But it was a lot of fun, and really looking forward to sampling some pumpkin beer with you gentlemen this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll probably forget to put the links in there because I always do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there is a 90% chance that there's no link anywhere, so just go to the YouTube channel and look for it.
Just being honest.
So, Kyle, anything you want to plug before we wrap up?
No, just continue to keep up with the feedback for the Four Hauntsmen. It's been great to see comments and to get the feedback from you guys. It's very much well received on this end, as I'm trying to say those words and not stumble over them. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, and to that point, if you like us, definitely tweet out the link or whatever, or not, if you don't use Twitter, whatever. Get the link out there, share the podcast with your friends, because we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing from new folks too, so appreciate all the feedback there.
The New Kids on the Block?
I love the New Kids on the Block. Right? We should have them on the show.
Yeah.
Chinese food makes me sick, though. One of the greatest songs ever.
In the summer.
In summer.
True.
Inside Universal Radio, new episode. I literally just recorded that today too, so I'm so talked out right now, like seriously. But that should be coming sometime around the time that this is released too. Little Halloween Horror Nights talk, little Dragon Challenge closing down at Universal talk, and then hopefully more from both Inside Universal and Hauntsman next week, which would mean that we have some more concrete Horror Nights news.
Wait, they're closing the Dragon Challenge?
Yes, breaking.
Is it going to be a full-time haunted house?
Yep.
All right.
It's going to be a Game of Thrones house.
We know.
Nathan.
Yes.
Do you have anything to plug?
I mean, not plug, more like a PSA. If you leave, let's say you make a protein shake early in the morning, and then you don't finish the whole thing, and you leave it in your game room with all your prized possessions for maybe 24 to 48 hours, and just let it do whatever it's doing in the thermos, and then you're about to record something, and you're fidgety, and you pop the top, and it goes exploding everywhere. Just don't do it. Just throw it away, or tell your wife to, clean it up like I did tonight before we recorded.
Yeah, what you guys are missing is that one of the reasons we're so giggly, besides the fact that Nathan's phone keeps buzzing, is there was a protein shake explosion right as we started recording this episode. Explosion.
That doesn't sound PG at all.
Malfunction, all right?
Yeah, there protein shake malfunction.
Oh man.
Oh, it's too funny.
I want to play game.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting up with the silliness. We've made it 4 episodes. Hopefully we'll make it 5. And with 5, hopefully next week we will have more concrete information to share with you guys. Today was more of a hangout, which I hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit more loose and laid back. And we will be back next week with more Four Hauntsmen.